Hello everyone, this is Pet Crochets. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I crocheted this open back haltered textured top. This is going to be a set with the matching skirt, and I'll have the tutorial for the matching skirt coming out next. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on future crochet patterns, tutorials, and videos. My dad actually helped me to name this particular set. I took a trip with him to Spain recently. During our trip, we visited a really beautiful coastal town called Peñiscola. And while I was there, I actually wore this set. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a few pictures and videos of my trip while I was there. So if you want to see what it looks like, you can head over to my Instagram. It's Pet Crochets, the same way it's spelled here. Something about the color of the yarn and the textures along with that pearl bead stringed along my skirt really reminds me of a seashell, so I thought Marina would be really fitting for this set. As always, this set is going to be measurement based, and because we're working with an open back, this actually builds up fairly quickly, and I think it would be the perfect weekend project while it's still hot outside. Let's get started. Here are the details of the yarn that I use. This is a very soft polyester and acrylic blend yarn. I would say it has a decent amount of stretch to it, so I would keep this in mind if you are using a different type of yarn. It might help to make a swatch first before you get started. For this project, I'm grabbing my 3.5mm hook. Here are some of the measurements that you might need for this top. For the first measurement, you're going to want to know how wide you want that neck portion to be. I wanted my neck to be completely covered, so I measured from the side of my neck to the other side of my neck. However, if you want, you can make this portion more narrow as well. You also want to determine how long you want the top to be, and then we're also going to need our bust width. So from one side of your breast to the other side of your breast, depending on how much coverage you want for the side of your breast. So for this top, we're going to start off with that neck width measurement, and then we're going to do increases on both sides up until this top is the width that you need to fully cover your bust area to your desired coverage. From there, we're just going to go straight down with no increased rows. So again, we're kind of making like a trapezoid and then going straight down, so it's fairly easy. This is going to be a 4-row repeat. We're going to have a double crochet row, followed by crossed double crochet row, followed by a double crochet row, and then a crab stitch row. So between the crab stitch row and the cross double crochet row, we'll have a double crochet row, a regular double crochet row. We're going to be increasing into those double crochet rows. I'll explain more of this as we go along. To get started, we're going to be making half double crochet foundation stitches to an even number. We're going to be making this to the length that we'd want for our neck portion. So for me, that was from one half of my neck to the other half of my neck so that the front portion of my neck is completely covered. I have a video up already on how to do these chainless foundation stitches. Again, this is going to be the half double crochet foundation stitch. However, if you don't want to do it this way, you can absolutely start with a chain first and then do the second row as the half double crochet row. Just make sure that you end up with an even number of half double crochet stitches. This is what I have so far. This will be our first row. Now I'm going to chain up 2 and turn my work, and we'll start the crossed double crochet row. You're going to skip a stitch, and into the second stitch make a double crochet. Now we're going back into that stitch that we just skipped and placing a double crochet. Here it is again. We're skipping a stitch, into the second stitch, place a double crochet, and then going back into that stitch that we just skipped, another double crochet. So just as the name suggests, we're crossing the double crochet stitches. I have a pair of shorts I did in this pattern. I'll be linking it above. This is what it should look like when you finish the row. Now we're starting with row 3 by chaining 2 and turning our work. If you remember back to the diagram, we're going to be doing a double crochet row between any of the, let's say, special rows. So this row is just going to be a row of regular double crochet since it's following the cross double crochet row. We are now at row 4, which is the crab stitch row. For this row, you're chaining 1 and you're not going to turn your work. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing our hook into that front loop. So the stitch that we just made, we're going around, and this first stitch is always a little challenging. But you're going to go around and place your hook through the front loop only, like so. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Now you're going to grab the yarn with your hook and then bring it through and under that stitch. So you're kind of twisting the hook as you go under that stitch, and it's going to create this nice ridged texture. Once you've completed that, you're just going to finish the single crochet by yarning over and pulling through the 2 loops on your hook. Here it is again into the next stitch, front loop only. You're going to put your hook in, grab the yarn, and then flip it under that stitch, and then finish a single crochet. This might be a little challenging in the beginning, especially that first stitch, which can be a little finicky, but once you get the hang of it, it's very easy. And it creates this really beautiful twisted ridge texture. At the very end, once you finish that final stitch, you're just going to slip stitch into the top of that turning chain, and that will finish this row. If you remember back to the diagram, this is going to be the final row of our repeat. We're going to start again with row 1, or the double crochet row. We're going to chain up 2, and we're not turning our work. We're going to look at the back of our work here. Remember, we were doing the reversed single crochets into the front loops. That leaves the back loops behind. So we're actually going to be doing our double crochets into those remaining back loops. So here are those back loops right there. I'm placing a double crochet into every single one of those back loop stitches all the way down. And I'll show you what that final back loop looks like. It can be kind of hard to see, so make sure you don't miss it. If it helps, you can also count up your stitches. So here's that final stitch right there, the final back loop stitch. And this will end row 1 of our repeat. Look how that ridge really pops. Now we're repeating rows 2 to 4 until you're ready to increase. We're going to be increasing into those regular double crochet rows only, so I'm going to do my crossed double crochet row, or row 2, and then I'm going to start my increases into the following double crochet row, or row 3. Here I'm going to show you how to do those increases so that we can get to our bust width. We're going to chain up 2 and turn, and then into that very first stitch I'm placing 2 double crochet stitches, and I'm going to do this for the very first stitch and the very last stitch. However, if you find that this is not increasing quickly enough and you need it to increase more quickly, if you have a bigger bust, I would suggest increasing in more than just the beginning and the end stitches. Just make sure that at the end you still have an even number of stitches. Here I'm placing 2 double crochets into my final stitch as well. This is what it should look like. There will be a gradual increase. The next row will be that crab stitch row, or row 4. So basically you're just going to keep doing this. You're just going to keep increasing and doing the crab stitch row or the cross double crochet row as you normally would until this is wide enough that it covers your bust. So for me, I'm increasing into every single double crochet row. So after the crab stitch row, I'm going to be increasing again into that double crochet row. Again, if you needed to increase more rapidly, rather than just increasing in the first and last stitch, you can increase into the middle stitches as long as you end up with an even number. Here I'm just showing you what it looks like to increase in those back loops only. So same as we did with the other double crochet row, you're just going to be increasing into those back loop. So for me, I'm placing 2 double crochets into that first back loop and 2 double crochets into that last back loop. You're going to keep doing the increases and working down until this covers your bust. Once it reaches that length, so for me that was around 12 inches from one side of my breast to the other side of my breast, then you're just going to go down and keep doing regular rows without any increases. So you're going to do rows 1 to 4 with no increases. For me, this is what it looks like, and make sure that you end on the crab stitch or row 4. For the following rows, we're going to be working on our front post rows and then the ruffles at the bottom of the top. Before starting the front post, I suggest counting up how many stitches you have and determining where you want those front post ridges to be placed. So now we're just going to continue with row 1 and double crochet until we're ready to make one of those front posts. I want to place a front post here, so I'm going to follow that next stitch, and instead of going into the back loop, I'm actually going to go over the crab stitch row and go into the previous double crochet row. I'm placing my hook behind that double crochet stitch like so, pulling up a loop, and then finishing with a double crochet. So this is what it should look like. We're now skipping that back loop because we already technically did the front post, and we're going to the next back loop and then continuing with the double crochets until we're ready to do another post. And don't worry, I'll show you how to do it one more time. So I want to place a front post here. You see that back loop? We're going to be using that back loop as a marker to find a double crochet stitch in the previous row. So right where my finger is, that's the double crochet stitch. We're placing our hook behind the double crochet post. So you see how the hook is behind and that double crochet post is on top of the hook? Now you're going to reach up with your hook and grab the yarn and pull it through. And at this point, you also want to pull up slightly so it doesn't scrunch up, and then finish the double crochet. And that's what it should look like. And you're going to keep doing this all the way down wherever you'd like to place those posts. So this is what mine looks like. You see how it's a little bit scrunched down? That's because I didn't pull up enough, so make sure that you pull up slightly. Now we're just going to double crochet until we reach a post, and we're going to be stacking the posts by doing another post or a back post double crochet. So I double crocheted and I've reached my post. So there's my post right there. I'm placing my hook again behind that post. So my hook is going through and behind that post. I'm pulling up a loop and then doing a double crochet, and then continuing to double crochet until my next post. Once again, please pull up slightly. If you notice, I haven't been pulling up slightly. However, I got lucky because my yarn is fairly stretchy. So again, place your hook behind that post. We're going to pull up a loop and you're going to pull up slightly there before doing the double crochet. And you're just going to keep repeating this down and doing the back posts wherever you did the front posts. And as you can see, the posts are stacked and it creates that nice vertical ridge. This is what it should look like at the end, and we're ready to do our ruffles. If you want to do more rows of this, you can as well. You're going to chain up 2, and it's that very first stitch I'm placing 2 double crochets. I'm aware that that first stitch was a half double crochet, that's a mistake. Place 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and into every following stitch you're placing 3 double crochets. And that will create a nice ruffle. If you want the ruffles to be more intense, you can place more double crochets into every single stitch. And you're basically going to do this all the way down, and that will be our ruffle row. So this is what it should look like at this point. We have those vertical posts and the ruffles, and then the rest of our top. At this point, what we want to do next is we want to clean up those rough edges. So I'm going to pick up where I left off and chain 1, and now I'm going to go down along the entire perimeter and place a single crochet. Now for this side and the other side, we don't have a clear stitch to go into, so just make sure that the single crochet stitches are as evenly spaced out as possible. So go down the side, down the top, down back the other side, and then you'll end at the other ruffle. Once you reach the other side, you can chain up 1, cut, and pull the yarn through to secure. And this is what the top should look like, so all those rough edges are nice and neat. Now we're ready to do the ties for our top. I'm going to start with the neck portion. I'm going to pull a slip knot through the stitch before the corner stitch. Then I'm going into that corner stitch and doing a slip stitch. This will just make sure that the tie is nice and secure and that it is in the corner. I also doubled up my yarn here. You're just going to make a very long chain and keep count of how many chains you do because you want to complete this on the other side as well. So go ahead and do that for the other side. And these are my 2 ties. Then you can do the same steps and add straps wherever desired. I added one right along the nipple line of my bust, and then I also added one a couple of inches below that strap. Just make sure that when you're making the chain, you're counting how many chains you do so you can repeat the same steps on the other side as well, so it's nice and symmetrical. Once you've woven in all those loose ends, you're finally done, and this is what the final product looks like. We have a beautiful textured halter top with an open back. This has been another summertime staple for me. I've worn this so many times this summer, and I'm bringing it to my next vacation, so hopefully I'm able to get some clips of my next destination. I'll be bringing this set along with me, and I can't wait to get a couple of clips in wearing it there as well. If you do decide to make the Marina top, let me know in the comments below. You can also send me a picture on Instagram. I love seeing what you guys create with my patterns, and I love seeing how you guys add your own twist to the pieces as well. Before the summer ends, I have many more crochet tutorials that are on the way very soon. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future crochet patterns and tutorials. Thank you for continuously supporting my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone!